Are you looking for a property to buy or lease? Are you tired of buying fake property from unregistered agents? Then this is good news for you. My Property and I is a real estate management program. Comes your way every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. on African Independent Television, AIT. Contrary people, una dey hear me so? I say My Property and I go tanda for your television every Tuesday 5:30 p.m. to give una all the tori about property for our state and how to get better one. We go dey bring una people wey sabi property matter to teach us how to buy and sell property without mago. Join us this Tuesday 5:30 p.m. on AIT Benin. My Property and I. Me sef fit be landlord.
Good day viewers, you're welcome to another exciting episode of My Property and I remain your host, Sarimegi John is my name. Property has been issues that bothers the hearts of many. This is why we bring to you the first real estate management program that gives you background knowledge on how to acquire genuine property, where to acquire genuine property, and possible ways to manage and develop those property of yours. Please, we're going to be taking a short break right now. When we return, you'll be meeting with our guest who is set to do justice to that issues that bothers your heart as regard property.
Are you looking for a property to buy or lease? Are you tired of buying fake property from unregistered agents? Then this is good news for you. My Property and I is a real estate management program. Comes your way every Tuesday 5:30 p.m. on African Independent Television, AIT. Contrary people, una dey hear me so? I say My Property and I go tanda for your television every Tuesday 5:30 p.m. to give una all the tori about property for our state and how to get better one. We go dey bring una people wey sabi property matter to teach us how to buy and sell property without mago. Join us this Tuesday 5:30 p.m. on AIT Benin. My Property and I. Me sef fit be landlord.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Please, can you introduce yourself to our viewers and also tell us more about your business?
Thank you very much. Hello viewers, my name is Comrade IDELE. I'm the CEO of Mito Tech Solutions. Mito Tech Solutions, we are an indigenous brand. We are into tech innovations, we're into business brokerage, branding, and also real estate.
So what makes your company different from every other company in Edo State? I think you basically design Edo State currently, or I don't know if you do outside Edo State, but what makes your company different from every other company?
One very key factor, we are technologically driven. And that is one area where most persons or most industries are lacking behind, especially in Edo State.
Okay.
You know, we have a lot of industries, but we don't really have people who are, to me, are innovative enough to put Edo in the limelight. Like let's take real estate for instance. Real estate in Edo should be a hub, just the way it is in Lagos, Abuja, and other mega cities, but that's not the case because we seem to be lagging behind for some certain reasons.
Okay.
So, like I said, we are driven by innovations and technology, and that is why we are different. That is why our services are different, and that is why we are able to render top-notch services to our clients.
So what do you think is lacking behind in Edo State in terms of in terms of real estate?
First things first, Edo is a civil servant state, and as such we don't really have a lot of mega industries that would actually bring persons that would want to maybe rent apartments or build a house close to their work areas, you know. And that being said, the population here it's quite okay, but it's not as populated as places like Lagos, you know, where currently you have a real estate market that is actually booming.
Okay.
You understand? So those are the little issues that are affecting real estate in Edo. But we thank God for investors and real estate developers that have, made sure that we are stepping forward in the right direction. We have a lot of estates. People are no longer scared of land grabbers in Edo. People are no longer scared of their plots being relocated to another area after payments, which is another issue that most persons had, especially buyers in diaspora. They are all scared of, oh, I buy a plot in Benin, if I come back after a few years, they've moved it or sold it, So we now have reputable companies that are doing justice to that and making it easy for buyers both home and abroad to purchase property in Benin that is safe and secured.
So what inspired you into real estate business?
Real estate for me has been more like a family business. My dad was into real estate. Back then it was just the conventional buying and selling, renting of land and all that. That was what we had in Edo then. So it got to a stage where we saw that people wanted to buy properties, but there was this stereotype mentality that any property you buy in Edo State is not safe because of the issue of land grabbers, community chairmen, CDAs back then and all that. So we had a lot of foreign buyers, foreign investors shifting their attention to other places. And like they say, necessity gives birth to innovations. So we saw a challenge that needed solution. And like our name, Mito Tech Solutions, we decided to jump on the train and provide solutions in real estate as well.
In terms of real estate in Edo State, how can you relate it to other parts of the country?
In Edo State, real estate is okay, it's doing well, but we can do better. Currently, we have about, given by current statistics, I think close to a little bit over 70 million housing deficit in Nigeria. And the way we can try and meet up with the poverty alleviation strategy is by providing more housing units and making more people landlords, so to speak. In Edo State, we are doing well. We are behind some major cities like Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, but we are doing well because if you look at Edo now and a few years ago, you know that the difference is obviously clear. We have a lot of investors coming on board. We have a lot of real estate developers developing estates, affordable estates, that we change the view of land investment in Edo State. So technically speaking, I think we are on the right direction and we are progressing forward gradually.
In 2-3 years from now, or let me say 10 years from now, what's your rate? How can you rate Edo State in terms of real estate?
Okay, in 10 years from now, we're going to be one of the biggest real estate hubs in Nigeria because we have arable lands, we have leveled lands, and it's considerably cheaper than a lot of places. So that's why we now have investors, smart investors. They say buy properties when it's cheap. So we have a lot of investors coming on board, and that would take Edo to the next level.
So do you have any advice for the government in terms of taking some infrastructures or some certain things out of this part of, I think, like as I was discussing earlier, I think everything in terms of infrastructures and other key companies, let me say, in terms of in terms of government infrastructures, yes, they are all in local government. Do you think, the majority of them? Do you think the government should, in terms of put them in various places like other local governments?
That would actually help real estate investments in Edo if we have governments, taking the bull by the horn and taking some major investments to other parts of the states. We currently have the Benin Airport and the museum and other things located around the Oredo GRA environment. So if we're able to have another innovative concept maybe a few more secretariats far from what you might call rural areas. Although we have some governmental projects, but these are not major projects. You understand? So it doesn't really add more value to these communities. So if we have situation where let's say we have another stadium, not at maybe the stadium road now, maybe towards the bypass areas where we have a lot of lands, bigger, more standard stadium, for instance. You're going to have more persons saying, okay, there's something big there be done by the government. It could be a refinery, an industry. Governments can work hand in hand with the private sector to have more industries scattered across other local government areas that will also add value to those areas. So that will go a long way if they are doing that. And also they can work with real estate developers to help make the development of these estates easier. When it comes to asphalting of the roads and opening access roads to these rural communities or where the estates is being sited. So that too would help. It will help largely.
What workable conditions all the estates must have before someone can really invest into it? It must just be a bare land or stuff like that before someone can invest into it?
When we say real estate or estates, we're actually talking about a piece of earth that has been modified, added value to, facilities that will add value and importance to that actual piece of property. So when we say estate, we're not just talking about selling plots of land in a gated environment. Okay, we're looking beyond that. We're looking at modifying these places, making them look good enough for persons to invest their money. So we're looking at different facilities. There are a lot of facilities you can think of. You can think of adding mini marts, supermarkets, recreational centers, things that will make people want to live, things that will make the environment conducive for persons of like minds to live. You understand? So that is what makes it an estate, not just selling bare plots. You have to add facilities. You have to add things that will add value, that will be able to say, okay, instead of me buying from here, let me buy from this estate. Why? Because there are facilities in here that will make my living easier, that will make my stay in this place more productive, as it were. So those things that are being added is what makes it an estate. Okay. The gated environment, for instance, serves for security purposes. Now, when you add things to beautify the place, greeneries and all that stuff, you arouse people's interest, and they are like, oh, this is a good environment to live. As we say, nobody will not like better things. Yes, you get so when you package these areas, so to speak, it becomes an estate worth living in, and that will draw investors. Trust me.
There is a press release from Edo State government which has stated that developers have continue to converting residential premises to commercial use without applying and obtaining the necessary change of permits. What's your intake on that?
When it comes to real estate, we have commercial plots, we have residential plots, we have industrial plots. We have gotten to a stage where I think greed has played a major role, because everybody wants to turn residential areas to commercial areas because of income that they are getting from it. You understand? That is why we are having these issues. There are a lot of areas where there ought not to be some commercial services, okay? But there are commercial services anyway, and that has messed with the general master plan of the state. We are supposed to have commercial areas, we're supposed to have residential areas. Okay, just imagine somebody building a house in the middle of Ring Road, where you have urban market and other commercial areas. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look good. You understand? Ideally, that shouldn't be there. So just same way, you shouldn't have commercial facilities in residential areas. Okay, you can have an industry in a street where you have living inhabitants. But in Edo, we have some persons who don't go through proper channels. They just buy plots and build anything they like on it. It's not done that way. You know, when you get a plot, you have it surveyed, you have your CFO. The next thing, you have a plan that you have to approve. If it's going to be a residential building, it has to be approved. If it's going to be a commercial building, it has to be approved. So they have to approve these things before you can put them there, so that we don't have a state that looks scattered, where things are done without care. We have to actually plan these things, and it will make our life conducive, more conducive for us to live as humans, generally speaking.
While we were coming just now, I saw a place where they said 1.2 or 1.3 billion naira for a particular property. Do you think that would be too much in Edo State in terms of acquiring a property?
Not at all. You see, property always appreciates. It appreciates on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, land is the only thing I know that would not depreciate over time. Okay, it's either going to be static or appreciate, because nobody will buy a land for 2 naira and sell at 1 naira, except it's what we call distresses and the person needs urgent money. But ideally speaking, it's always going to appreciate. Now, when it comes to the amount, no amount is too big and no amount is too small. It all depends on how much you need it, and the area the land is being situated. We have there's a property I was involved in Abuja that was sold for about 3 billion naira. That's Abuja, you can say. But we can have same thing here in Edo State. Why? Because Edo is now viable. We have a lot of industries coming on. We have a lot of investors on board. You know, it's all depending on the person's bargaining power, the person's marketing power. You can tell me you want a plot of land and tell you, okay, this place is going to be sold for 2 million, and somebody else comes and say, I like this plot, I'll pay 3 million. Who will I sell for? The person saying 3 million. If somebody else comes tomorrow and say, I want here more, I'm paying 4 million. Now it becomes like auctioning. You get.
The government stopped some community leaders from some certain activities based on due to the maybe development fees and all that. I think that has brought or that's a welcome development in terms of bringing development to the real estate sectors. I want to ask, what's your intake on that? Do you think it will bring development? Do you think it's a welcome development in terms of stopping those activities where hoodlums adjust some persons' properties inside? Maybe you're working, they'll just come collect your working equipment because of you didn't pay development fee. Like I was talking to someone the other day, because of 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, I don't know. He didn't even tell the community security, the security personnel in the community to stop to go and guide this equipment, but on their own they went there to be guiding it, and because he didn't pay for it, they stopped his work. What's your intake on that in terms of?
Well, it's sad to say that in some communities in Edo State, that has become the order of the day. People look for avenues to make quick money, and they come up with all sorts of schemes to collect money from investors. That is one of the major reasons why we encourage people to buy properties from a reputable company. When you buy properties from an estate, you don't have these issues. You understand that you don't have these issues because you are dealing with an organization and not the housing communities. As for what the state government has done, it's a welcome development. It has actually eased real estate investment in the states. It has opened avenues for a lot of buyers in diaspora to know that, okay, fine, we can now buy properties in Edo without issues. So it's a welcome development, and it has helped the real estate industry a big deal. So we are quite happy that the state government has taken charge and put facilities in place and made sure that these activities of such community chairmen or whatever you may call them have been put to a halt, and we are really happy for that. It's a welcome development. We applaud the state governor, and we hope that there will be more policies that will be in favor of real estate investment, because what we actually need are foreign investors. There's nothing wrong if we have skyscrapers in those states,
yeah.
you know. So we actually need to make the place conducive enough for foreign investors to want to come and put something on ground. So it's a welcome development, and like I said, we are gradually progressing to a stage where real estate business in those states will become a bigger hub, even more than it is now. So we're getting there gradually.
I'm looking up to the time where I'll see skyscrapers, not just these top buildings, but very, very top buildings in Edo State. Why is Edo State not having these skyscrapers? Do you think maybe the land is not okay for us, or the land can't carry skyscrapers?
First of all, our land in Edo State is very much okay. Is better than lands in a lot of places that have skyscrapers. So the major thing is that we don't have investors. You see, investment drives any economy. We have persons who are ready to pump their funds into a sensitive venture. It makes it more lucrative, and you know, it increases the inflow. We lack viable investors that are ready to put such structures on ground, and we can't leave everything for the government. So like I said, we are gradually getting to that level where we're going to have foreign investors coming in, for the fact that they are rest assured that they are not going to have community issues, and they're not going to have development problems and all that stuff. They will not be scared to come and put something on ground. I think we are getting there. So hopefully in the nearest future, we're going to have 1 or 2 skyscrapers in strategic locations. Maybe condos that people could rent out, or you know, buildings that could be used for office spaces and all that. So give or take, we are getting there. But for now, since we have a lot of land, people rather put small structures around everywhere. It will get to a stage where we will no longer have lands, and they will now employ the strategy used in places like Port Harcourt, the old Port Harcourt city, where somebody will buy your decking and put something on top and deck, another person will buy them because there's no land. So we still have land in those states, so people prefer to do your normal story buildings and all that. But we'll soon get to that stage. We just need viable investors, people who are ready to put their funds, and they know what they are going to get back at the end of the day.
What's the final word to the general public in terms of buying, selling, in terms of buying and selling of property?
If you are in Edo State, you are an Edo-lite, you live in diaspora, and you want to buy property, genuine property, affordable properties, I suggest that you buy from a reputable company. And we currently are on sales. Mito Estate Phase 1 at Rukosa, currently on sales. It's an avenue for investors both home and abroad to key into a realty solution, buy plots that are affordable and also luxurious. You understand? Our slogan is affordable luxury. So I think my advice to the general public is that whenever you want to invest in real estate, make sure you're doing so genuinely, preferably through a real estate developer, so you don't have issues with land grabbers or land theft as the case may be. When you're buying a genuine property, you know you're buying a genuine property, and you're going to have peace of mind. So do what to patronize a plot from us or from any other estate that you've done your research that it's okay for you, and you will not regret it. It's better than buying conventional plots. Trust me, buy from an estate, you will never regret it.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of My Property and I remain your host, Sarimegi John is my name. We all know the way you lay your bed, that's how you're definitely going to lie on it. Having an assurance of genuine property gives you peace of mind. This is why I will urge you to follow us every Tuesday by 5:30 p.m. on AITV, and also on Saturday by 1 p.m. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms. See you next week, same time, same station. Bye for now.
My Property and I. Me self fit be landlord.